Sorry, way too much fun in the background.
Todd making me laugh in the breaks. So you don't have to be on 24/7. This is something that if you asked me in my first 3 or 4 years of being a realtor, I would have looked you square in the eye and said, that's nonsense. I got to be on.
Yeah.
I have to be on. I personally felt that I needed to be on at every whim, every beck and call that my clients made. I had to be there to answer their call. The truth is, I didn't have to be. And even though I held myself to that standard, which is great, the problem is that you sacrifice the things you want to do. You sacrifice a degree of your energy.
You know, part of the reason why you became a realtor in the first place, right?
Yep.
You sacrificed that.
Yep.
That freedom of being able to have a life.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. And I know from working with you over the years, work is part of your life. It's not your entire life.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you're not on it whenever your clients call.
Correct.
Whenever they need something, you knock it out of the park with 100% service. But it's more along the times that work for you a lot of the times. So tell me a little bit about that for you, Todd.
It's a huge piece of work-life balance, right? I preach that. I actually live that as much as I can. Always a time when you have to drop everything in your personal life and go, right? We have an offer on our property, or we want to put an offer on a property. You don't really get a whole lot of flexibility there to say, can't do it right now.
Correct.
I'm busy.
Yep.
But if you have a buyer that calls you and says, I want to go see property tonight, and you have an engagement that's personal. Let's say you're meeting friends for drinks that night. Is it okay to say, I can't do it tonight, but I can do it tomorrow night?
Right.
I think it is. But there's a fear that if you don't say yes to everything, the fear is that that client's going to go to another realtor.
Right.
Right? Which is not the case. Never was the case. Isn't the case. Certainly now if we have an exclusive buyer brokerage signed,
Right.
there is that piece.
Yes.
As long as you cater to your clients, I believe you can have a life, right? I've said the one years ago, I helped clients, we were in a buyer meeting at a CIR office, and through the presentation, we were near the end talking about looking at houses, and I said, if possible, I'd prefer to not show you houses Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 7, because my girls are playing soccer.
Yes.
I'd love to go. And they both said, no problem at all. No, we just won't see houses that time. And they respected that, right?
So we've had this discussion many times over the years of knowing each other.
Yeah.
I and you feel that your respective buyers actually appreciate you more when you spell it out for them, that you do have a life, because it shows that you're a family man. It shows that you have priorities and that you respect their priorities at the same time.
Yeah.
But these are preferable no-fly zones. Would you agree that, well, I know you do, but how do you feel about that? How do you put into words
I agree.
for CIR right now?
What do you mean, how do I put into words?
With respect to you setting the expectation that you also have events. You also have things. Like maybe for me, it was Friday nights that typically not a lot of showings happen on Friday nights and not a lot of sales happen on Friday nights, because in my respective business, I never had clients making offers on Friday nights. They had plans on the go at all times, it seemed.
Right.
So from that aspect, with my business, I noticed that trend, so I started planning my life events on Friday nights.
Okay.
I'd get my weekend showing routine out of the way on Friday during the day, and I would enjoy a Friday night with my family. Do you have any trends like that? Do you have any expectations on days where you say, I'm not doing any business whatsoever?
Not truly that way.
Okay.
I try to not cancel my personal life plans to show houses.
Okay.
So this is a real scenario where I'm showing property this Wednesday night. Over the weekend, we looked at what properties we're going to go see, and they couldn't do the weekend, so we were talking one of these evenings again. And I said, how about Monday night? And they said, Monday doesn't work, but we can do Tuesday at 5, I think it was. And I've actually got another client appointment at 6:30 Tuesday.
Right.
So never cancel one appointment to set another.
Right.
Right? For real estate, for your clients. So I truly could say, I'm not available Tuesday, but I am available Wednesday. and we locked down that date. And they said
Yes.
5, I can't meet 5, we agreed on 6.
Yep.
So now we're going to negotiating times.
Yep.
But it worked, and they're not going to another realtor because I needed an extra day,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So if that was a family event tomorrow night, I would do the exact same thing and say I can't do it Tuesday night, but I can do it Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. What works for you?
Right.
And one, they don't need to know what it is you're doing. They don't
Yes.
need to know. They don't.
Right.
Right? You could be going for breakfast Saturday morning at 9. You can still make that Saturday morning at 9 breakfast and show at 10:30.
Yep.
You don't have to drop your life to do this
Agreed.
because we
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
And that first 3 years, there is that fear, and I get that. You want to go and get everything, but I'm here to tell you, you don't have to.
Yep.
You
Yep.
just don't. If you're the realtor that's always available all the time, that sure is convenient to your clients. But the other side of that coin in my world is maybe you're too available, and I think clients tend to start taking advantage of that accidentally. They're not out to get you, but they may start just expecting you to drop everything all the time.
Right.
Right?
When you set that expectation where you're not telling them, but you're showing them in your actions, then suddenly it's okay to be on a call at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night that has no relevance on anything right now. In other words, it's not an active purchase. It's not an active listing question. It's something that could easily go into the next day at 9 or 10 or,
Correct.
or 11 a.m. But by answering those calls and participating, we're also sending a message to our significant others that we're always on. And they start, whether they admit it or not, sometimes that builds up in them that we're always working and we never have time for the simple things. One thing that I used to do was I used to contact my clients on a Monday or Tuesday, and I would pre-plan the weekend coming up. And the first client that committed to Saturday showings at 10 a.m., I would then call all of my clients and say, heads up, I'm showing properties on Saturday. I have 12:30 available, I have 3:30 available, and I have 6:30 available. That way I could hammer all my showings preferably into a Saturday and have Sunday off. That was one of the expectations I set with my clients. Now in the times when it was really busy and I needed both days to spend on the weekend, well, I set that expectation with my family.
Of course.
That this is our busy time. And I am going to be working a lot of hours these weeks and these months. But you got to remember that it's not going to sustain like this all year.
That's right.
So I might do a full day Saturday and I might do 3 hours on Sunday. But I wouldn't do 8 hours and 8 hours if I could avoid it, so that I could have some family time.
Yeah.
But it's important to set those expectations with your clients first and let them know this is how it's going to be, if at all possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Quick plug for the practicum course. We preach that in that course first couple of weeks about time blocking, right? And you have to time block your time blocking. As funny as that sounds, that's what you did without knowing what you're doing. You didn't have an official name for it, right?
Yep.
You're time blocking your week ahead of time so you can then fit people into that schedule without making them feel like you're fitting them in, right?
Yep.
So that's okay. The reason I'm bringing that up is it's okay to time block business, but it's also very okay to time block yourself.
It is.
Right? You got to time block that fitness time, that park time with your kids, driving them to dance class because they're not getting any younger.
That's right.
Right? So it's okay to do well in real estate and have a great business, but you can also have a great life and do well in your family life.
Yes, absolutely.
If let's say you're single, right? Not everybody's got the kids here. It's still valid.
Yep.
I think it's still very important to have a life outside of your work.
Yes.
That's key to me. I think to have longevity in this business, I think it's key to have things outside of work that bring you joy.
Yep. I would agree.
That is a part of you, right?
Well, and in this industry, our phone is our lifeline. We really depend on our phones, the messages, the texts, the emails, the phone calls, everything. So subconsciously, we feel like we're always on. So giving yourself permission to put that phone down and basically say, listen, I know that maybe I don't have any listings right now, and I'm working with buyers. So on these nights, I'm going to put my phone in a drawer, and I'm going to forget about it for 2 or 3 hours. And giving yourself permission to just step away so that you have that mental clarity and you can really recharge just for 2 or 3 hours at a time. That's okay. And when you have a listing and you have to step away from your phone for 2 or 3 hours, that's okay as well.
Yep.
Because the truth is that if Todd is sending an agent an offer, and Todd sends it in at, 7 p.m., odds are he notified that agent that an offer is coming.
Yes.
A few hours before. So that night, that agent knows something's coming. If an agent just randomly sends you an offer out of the blue, yes, we definitely want to action it. But the truth is, 2 hours from now, that offer is probably still going to be there.
Correct.
And when you think about a really successful agent, we're talking 20 to 30 transactions or more per year. There's 365 days in the year.
Mm-hmm.
The odds of every time you having a 2 or 3 hour break, getting business coming in every single time, is not going to, it's just slim to none.
It's slim. You're right.
It's slim to none. So give yourself the permission to take a 2 or 3 hour break, to take a Friday night off, to have a day on the weekend where you're not always on, to mentally get away from everything related to, your accessibility. You'll thank yourself later, and it took me far too long to understand that.
I'm gonna throw somebody out there. Derek Timmons, if you're watching, comment how it's going. Turning your phone off once in a while during an evening. Comment on how that felt when you first started doing it a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
He's been losing his mind doing it, but it's real, and we have families, right?
We do. We do.
To add to that, if I'm not in an active negotiation, my phone is in my kitchen and it's on silent charging in my kitchen, and it doesn't go to the bedroom with me.
Right.
I don't look at it again till next morning.
Right.
And you speak about we're always on. The minute I turn that buzzer off and charge it, there's this, right?
Yep.
So you have that life. The minute you start responding to texts at 10, 10:30, 11 at night, there's that expectation you've set. You're now working 10, 10:30, 11 at night when you don't need to be.
That's right.
Right? If they're just asking simple questions about going to look at property 3 days from now, you don't need to respond that night.
That's right.
So it's okay to give yourself that break and have a life.
It is. Right. One quick touch point, because I know we should wrap it up pretty quick. Steve Phillips once told me, it must have been about 5 years ago, he said he would encourage agents to have a real estate buddy. And maybe that real estate buddy, let's pretend I was still selling. It would be you. We might set up an expectation that on a Friday night that you would be on. And I would tell all my clients that, listen, Friday nights are my no-fly zone. It's my family time. So if you need anything that's absolutely urgent, contact Todd Skoby. If it was to do with an offer or something, Todd will get in touch with me. But giving those people an outlet to direct their questions to somebody on a Friday, and maybe I would return the favor, and maybe it would be Saturday nights for me. But having a buddy where you can potentially turn off for a 6 hour period, knowing that all hell is not going to break loose, gives you the permission to turn off.
Yeah, because the minute you turn it off, all you ever think about is what's happening on your phone.
That's right.
Right? What am I missing? What's going on that I should be dealing with? So I fully understand the other side of it. To say it's realistic to just turn your phone off for the whole evening or the day, not realistic, not beneficial to your clients. That's not what we're saying, right? Just to be clear, we're not saying turn your phone off, ignore your clients. It's more of find a balance of lifestyle here where you can let it go for an hour. Start small. Take your dog for a walk. Leave your phone at home for 20 minutes. Try that.
Smell the fresh air. Look at everything going on instead of walking with your scrolling while you got the leash.
And you will feel your pocket buzzing and you will hear a phone ringing. It happened to me. You will feel it. And then it goes away over time. But that 20-minute walk, one is exercise, two, it's just freeing from your business that you can afford to go for 20 minutes. Right? There's these baby steps that we can do to get to that.
So much more we could be covering on all these topics. As you can see, we got into it, and there's so much more we could chat about. So have these discussions with your fellow agents this week. Reach out to somebody, go for a coffee, explore these things. Call out an experienced agent. Call out an agent that maybe could use some advice if you are an experienced agent on somebody that you know that just came into the industry. Help each other. We'll all get better. And Todd, thank you very much for coming in today. Look forward to the next time. And everybody, make it a great week.